Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Kuavadis, and I'll be your guide and concierge tonight to, well, contemplating and musing over character builds in Genshin Impact, moving it over into Sword World 2.5 tabletop role-playing game. Honestly, I didn't really feel like playing any games tonight. Kind of just felt like sipping something nice. Just thinking out loud, contemplating character builds, tabletop RPGs, you know the deal. When you get an idea, when you get the feeling of just building a new character in a tabletop RPG, well, when lightning strikes, you just gotta grab hold of it and see where it goes. I figure might as well just get started from the very beginning of the game. You know, Mondstadt. That's how you say it, right? Who knows how far we'll go tonight, but, well, we can try to make do what we can. Well, tonight I was thinking we can start with the early characters that you start off with, maybe Jean or Diluc. So maybe we'll do that. I'm thinking that just to set some ground rules, we'll try to build everyone as a human character. And we'll start with just basic stats, I guess. So we have everyone as a human character. That would try to make things a little bit easier to build through. Let's see here. The Jean. Let's start her off as a human. As a human, let's see. What stats should we start her off with? Well, first of all, humans in Sword World at least get Sword's Grace, also called Change Fate. Basically, once per day they can flip. Can't see that at all. Sword's Grace Change Fate. There we go. Basically, once per day you roll 2d6 dice and you flip it over physically from one side of the dice to the other side. So 1 becomes a 6, 6 becomes 1. So if by happen chance you rolled a critical failure with 2 1s, well, you can just flip that over and it becomes 2 6s instead. Now then, let's try to see what sort of stats they'll get us. Humans by nature, it's pretty basic. Let's start with having them, you know, let's keep it easy. Let's start with a basic 777 across the board. And then for their stats, you're supposed to roll it. You can roll a 2d6 for humans, but just to keep it simple, let's just start us off. Let's just give it a 7 across the board as well. Super standard, super basic. Let's not put too much thought into this. Honestly, starting off with a 2 modifier across the board is actually pretty good already. Generally when you're starting off, new character, a 0 modifier kinda sucks. 1 is bearable, 2 is standard, 3 is good, plus 4 is great right off the bat. So we are, oh wait, I put this in the wrong place. Human right there. Let's make Jean first. How many levels do we give her? I have no idea yet. No idea yet. I haven't put any thought into that yet. But let us hop in. Let's change up the music a little bit here. I'll just move her into her office. There we go. We'll just have Jean sit there for a little bit. Alright. Classes. What do I think Jean is? First of all, the thing is, when she fights with a pretty light sword. But her role in Genshin is kind of like a knight leader. We could give her fighter, fencer, or battle dancer. I don't think fencer fits her, despite her using like a light sword. I don't think a fencer build would fit her. Battle dancer definitely not. So I think we're gonna make her a fighter. And then how many levels? Let's start with 5 levels of that, which means we need to give her 3 feats. I also think that a priest kind of fits her. She's kind of like a paladin. Maybe not quite so much a paladin, but she is a believer of the church, considering who her sister is. And her abilities is to use wind and heal allies. The wind itself, I don't think we need to focus on that too much. I mean, just a few levels in getting some elemental abilities would be decent. But I think what's more impactful is her ultimate, which is her Q, essentially. Being able to heal those around her. She's kind of a leader, so I think she would do well with some tactician. And then maybe fairy tamer. And we'll just focus on the wind spells. Priest, how much XP are we going to start with? How much XP should we play with tonight? Let's say we have 13? 13, 7,000, or maybe, yeah, let's play with about 13,000 XP. So with 13,000, how much can we throw around here? Maybe 3, 2, 1. That would work. How many levels in Fairy Tamer do I even want? Let's see, it's mostly just for flavor, to be honest. With the wind spells, level 3 in Fairy Tamer would give her Wind Cutter. The spell Wind Cutter, which allows you to shoot out a scythe of air that cuts through your targets. That seems pretty apt. Let's bump Fairy Tamer up. And Priest, why do we want Priest again? Probably just, this one more for flavor. Yeah, I definitely think Priest would be more for flavor. Like, we don't really need to worry too much about keeping it 100% accurate to Genshin. As long as it's similar enough in feel, it emulates the character well enough, I think that's good enough. So there is a spell called Wind Circulation in the Priest levels, and that only requires level 2. So let's make her Priest 2. We are short a little bit of XP. There we go, 1 level in Tactician. Because we mostly want, let's see here, Fairy Tamer. We want Fairy Tamer level 3. Only because we want Wind Cutter. And we want Priest level 2 because it gives you Wind Circulation spell. I just realized this is all very small. Let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. Wind Cutter spell. I think we want to have a priest of Firasil. Firasil, goddess of wind and rain. So why do we want Tactician again? Why Tactician? Stratagems. You would eventually want to be able to use a maneuver. What was it? Concentration or efficiency? No, not concentration. Efficiency. We want efficiency 1. Oh, tactician. At least 2 levels because we want efficiency stratagem. Which means to generate edge, we're going to need some tactician stratagems. Not offense. I don't think she boosts offense. Maybe Godspeed Stance for movement. Godspeed Stance increases character movement speed. Or should it be Flowing Fortunes for more evasion? I think maybe Defiant Stand. Defiant Stand predicts magic and unique skills from enemies and issues commands to prepare for them. Boost the character's fortitude and willpower by 1. Yeah, let's do that. I think Defiant Stance would be good. Defiant Stance 1, and then we want efficiency 1. Of course, they're all going to be speaking trade common. Let's not worry about the spells here or languages. Now let's focus on the feats. What sort of feats shall we give you? I got too many pages open here. Cutter. Here we go, feats. Let's take a look here. What sort of feat would be good? As Jean, her abilities are to push people around and heal in an AoE around herself. So maybe we'll start off getting additional stratagems or maneuvers. That way she can start off with Tactician 1. We'll change that to 2 if we can. I'll give myself a little extra. We'll hold this additional stratagem in the back pocket. We'll throw it here for now. Oops. I'll throw it there for now. Let's focus on other things. Do I want her to be using a shield? It makes sense because she uses a one-handed sword. Might as well give that to her. What else would she be able to get level 1? Dodge? She will be able to stand on the front lines a bit more easily. Or weapon proficiency. Weapon proficiency A gets you +1 to, what was it again? To, was it accuracy or damage? +1 damage, not accuracy. We could give that to her. What about active feats instead? Aimed attack? Maybe aimed attack. She's an accurate fighter after all. When she uses her abilities. You could say that this is like a aimed attack because she gathers the enemies towards herself. So let's say that with her aimed attack, she kind of uses her wind powers to gather enemies towards her so she can more accurately land an attack. Yeah, let's do that. Let's give her aimed attack. That makes sense to me. Aimed attack. What else could she get? Lethal strike? Nah. Lethal strike is not her. Taunting strike. Power strike? Absolutely not. It's not her style. Let's go for aimed attack. Aimed attack. When a melee attack or a ranged attack is made, increase your accuracy check by +1 but reduce the chance of criticals. I think that's a good and fair way to it. So let's do aimed attack 1. And then for level 3, what can we do for level 3? Nothing active here. Defensive stance doesn't make sense either. Let's take a look at some passive feats. When evasive maneuvers. +1 to evasion checks. Would she? Would she be a more of an evasive character? No, I don't think so. We're making her a fighter. But when she fights... well, she does get a bunch of movement speed boost. Maybe we will give her dodge or evasive maneuvers. But that requires Fencer or Battle Dancer to upgrade it. So that's not so great. Maybe we'll just do weapon proficiency. Swords. Weapon prof. Swords. I'll give her a +1 to her sword damage. +1 sword. Which +1. What else would we give her? Give her 1 more. Additional stratagem 2? That would be pretty useful. Don't need armor. Not ever changing. Tenacity, no, that's for more strength. How about active feats? Multi-action would make sense at level 5. That way she can use a spell and cast magic at the same time. So this would be multi-action. Would she have Sage as well? Okay, so at the very least, to have enough classes to create a character to emulate Jean in Genshin, you would need at least level 5 fighter. No, you don't really need fighter to emulate her. 4? What's the minimum you need? At the very least, level 5, yeah, I'd say level 5. Get multi-action. Well, you don't really need it. That's more of a, well, if you're at level 5, you might as well take it. I think the minimum you need, I think, is level 4. Then you get a priest level 2, so you can have the wind circulation spell. And then a fairy tamer 3, so that you can have wind cutter. And then tactician 2, because you want to eventually get efficiency, which will increase the strength of your heals, I think. Was that how it worked? Let me double check here. Efficiency. Efficiency 1. Adds +4 to HP recovery of one target of a spell. So eventually you do want meta magic targets probably. But I think you can get started with this because Fairy Tamer, you would want to pick at least wind. At least wind spells. And then you could take light spells as well, so you have the healing. Water and ice and earth. So no, you could probably just go with 3. Wind, light, and earth doesn't make too much sense in terms of element, but in terms of being more defensive, it does. That's my thoughts. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll focus wind and light and what was it? Earth? You do earth or water ice, you know? Earth or water would be okay. You could pick all 4. Water and ice are considered one element. So you'll have to find stance efficiency 1. Fighter 5. Fighter 5, you automatically get, what was it? What was the feat you get again at level 5? Tenacity? Let's see here. No, toughness. Oh, no, toughness comes at level 7. Toughness will give her an extra 15 HP. But we don't need that right now. I think eventually she will probably want Sage. Maybe like a minor something. Because she's a smart woman. Something like that. But at the minimum, you would want Fighter, Priest, Tactician, and Fairy Tamer. Let me clean this up. Tamer 3. What was it? Priest 2. And then Tactician 2. There we go. That's built with 14,000 XP. It's just a little bit over my intended. If you remove multi-action and pick up additional stratagems instead, that could work. Alright, next, let's see here on this side. Is there an easier way I can do this? Zoom. No, it was exactly the same. What I just did. Okay, let's see here. We'll be starting off with Fighter. Weapons. Weapons will be obviously swords. That's what we got weapon proficiency for. And with a strength of 14. I guess everyone's gonna have 14. A longsword. Yeah, let's start with a longsword. You can wield that one-handed or two-handed. Yeah, we can do that. Longsword. It stands a one-handed or a two-handed. Oops. Two-handed. And strength required is, let's see here, 13. Wait, was it 13? Yeah, 13. It doesn't get any extra accuracy. The power of this weapon is 13 and 23. And then the critical value is 10. Oops. Armor. What armor can she wear? Probably like visually metal armor doesn't make sense. Visually, however, as a fighter, that is a possibility. We could always just go with non-metal as well. What's the weight level? What's the weight on that? hard leather requires 13 strength. And then, oh, heavy armor is quite heavy, requires at least 15 strength to get started. Realistically speaking, like, at this level, how many, what was I thinking? How many growths would you have? You would have at least 9 growths, which would boost up your character's stats by quite a bit. Across the board, maybe 2. What was it? Recommended 222 something like that was what you might look like. And then that would mean that your strength goes up by 1. You know what? Let's take a look at the human starting stats again. With a fighter, some mercenary background, 7-10-4, or a warrior. A warrior background would look good. Let's change things up. Background is warrior. That means with her starting stats, she can have 7-9-5 instead. Now boost up her strength to 18. You know what? Let's remove the growth. Now we're going to ignore the growth because that's a randomly determined anyways. We'll build a character like this. So she has 16 strength now, which means she might be able to wield better weapon. Broadsword. A one-handed broadsword. Broadsword. That does 15 damage. Oh wait, no, she's rank A sword. She can equip better weapons, so she can equip a talwar instead. What the heck's a talwar? Talwar? Oh, it's a curved sword. Just say it's a long sword. Use the stats of the talwar, but call it a long sword. And then the power of this is 20, I think. Swords, tower, 20. Yep, that's it. Extra damage, get +1 from her weapon proficiency. Total of accuracy would be 7. And then total extra damage she's dealing is +8. Base evasion is an 8. Now let's figure out her armor. With 15 armor, 16 strength. She could wear splint armor or hard leather. In terms of what the character looks like she's wearing, probably hard leather, which has a minimum strength requirement of 13, I think. Yeah, 13. Defense is 4. And she could wield a shield. It's not in character, like, don't have to. But if you want to make the most of all your equipment slots, you could. Or you could just leave it empty. You don't really need a shield per se. Well, if you're going to be holding a one-handed weapon, you might as well hold a shield as well. However, since our goal here is just to emulate characters, we don't need that. But let's say that you are going to wield a shield, then that would be a kite shield. Oops. Kite shield. Minimum strength requirement is 13, get a +1 evasion, +1 defense. Now, this would be what you could do, or you could change hard leather into metal armor. What was it? Splint armor, which requires a minimum strength of 15, 0 evasion, but you get plus 5 defense. You get 1 more defense out of that. And squeeze a little bit out of it. So if you were to play this optimally, you would wear a splint armor and kite shield. However, because we're just looking to emulate the character as much as possible, I don't think metal armor fits her. So we're just going to stick with hard leather. And we're going to remove the kite shield. It doesn't make sense. But I think that's the best way to emulate Jean. As for casting a spell, she does need fairy gems. So with class specific items, let's see here, class specific items. She'll need a gem case at the very least. You want ornate jewelry instead. You want a gem case or ornate jewelry which can hold more fairy tamer gems. But if we're going for just the minimum, I think this will do. Just gem case is fine. You can hold, what was it, 4 gems inside? Yeah, 4 fairy tamer gems. There you go. Oops. View. Zoom. So this is probably what it would look like. Oh, things are cut off. Squeeze this out a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, something like this would work. Just change this a little bit here, move this over. There we go. Something like this would do, I think. So it's Grace, level 5. She has level 5 fighter. Fairy Tamer 3, so she has the Wind Cutter spell. Priest level 2 of Feversil, so that she can pick up Wind Circulation spell. And then she wants Tactician 2 so that she can use the Efficiency Stratagem. And to make sure she can build Edge, she'll pick up Defiant Stance. Equipped for the character, Tau Whirls is a A rank sword. And since she has Weapon Proficiency A, she can use that. But we'll call it a longsword. +1 damage on it. And then to emulate the character, just to emulate, we'll just wear hard leather. And that should be good. That's pretty much done. Okay, let's start up anew. Let's rename this sheet. Duplicate this one here. Actually, before that, I'm going to copy this section here. Because each character, we're going to start off with the exact same stats. Just to keep it simple. We're going to have them have 13,777 across the board. Like realistically, you'll be rolling for these. Well, in the corrections section, you'll be rolling for these. These ones you choose from the background. But that's what we're going to start off for now, just to keep things simple for us. Alright, who shall we build next? Let's see here. Diluc. Diluc is very similar to Jean in build, but I think definitely since he is wielding a heavy sword, probably you want him to be wearing heavy armor. Can we get his strength any higher than Jean? Or humans? Ah, yes we can. We can give him the mercenary background. So, Diluc. We'll give you the mercenary background. Mercenary background, yes, 710-4, 710-4. So he has a bit more strength than Jean, but less intelligence and spirit. 100% he will be starting off as a fighter. Start with level 5 just to see how things go. And would a bird come along with him as a character? Actually, I forgot. We can probably give them some like levels in jobs as well. Regular work skills. Raxia life. Jean. Military, I'd say. Soldier. Government official. Yeah, that's... You'll probably have to take some levels in government official job skills. Where can I put this? Job skills. Government official. Since you can start off with at least 10, let's just make this 10 or level 5. You can have 10 levels overall, but no more than level 5. So level 5. And then for second one is soldier. Soldier. Level 5. That way with a government official, she is proficient with literature, administrative, and local knowledge. And then for the soldier skill, she would have proficiency in first aid, jumping, climbing, strength checks, military knowledge, long distance movement, and leadership, which is all great for her. Technically, she would probably have some reputation. Reputation. She would probably add a higher rank for the adventure ranks, but that's going to be a section I'm not going to worry too much about. Ah, shoot. Duplicate this first. Remove Diluc here. Let's make this 777 across the board. So I want this one to be my blank sheet. This one here will be Diluc. Alright, let us zoom in here. Better vision. That's too close for my eyes. 150 should be good enough. Alright, 710-4. He's going to be a fighter. And 100% he's going to get power attack. Power attack. What else would I give him? Cleave or power strike? Probably. I already gave him power strike. When he swings his attack. That. It's a 3-hitter, so cleave makes sense because cleave can hit up to 3 people. But what it looks and feels like is more like a power attack. And his ultimate is just swing. Oops. Is to swing and shoot out a bunch of fiery birds. There is a spell under Conjurers that gives you fire weapon. But you don't really need that. What you could do instead is use a fairy weapon fire. So let's just make a note right now. Weapon. Fire. So we're going to be giving you that so you can deal fire damage. And then let's see here. Right, combat feats. Wait. Yes, 17 strength. We know already that we want to. Well, I know already that I want to give him armor. With 17 strength, realistically, he would probably have higher armor, but we'll start with just the simple stuff. Split armor. That means he needs a minimum of 15 strength for 5 defense. I want him to have a heavier sword, but we'll go to that later. Right, classes. What classes should I give him? Enhancer, probably. You'll want at least, what was it? Air strength, was it? Air muscle. Air muscle, beetle skin for armor. And then cat's eye, I guess. Cat's eye for accuracy. Strength, defense, and accuracy. We got... Honestly, Diluc is not hard to build at all. At the minimum, he just wants to be a frontline fighter. At the minimum, that's it. Wait a minute. How did... 322. Why is this only 14,000? Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. 5. Why aren't you counting? Sorry, I'm just gonna mess around here for a little bit. That's not calculating correctly. That's not calculating at all. It's only calculating the very first one. What on earth? Hold on just a minute here. Hide that for a little bit. Just look at Diluc for a little bit here for me. As I try to figure out what is going on. Why is this not correct? Let's see if I can make a new character sheet. Make a copy of that. Here. Let's take a look at this here again. Okay, let's see, what was I trying to do? Trying to fix this. That's correct. That's correct. That is also correct. Why is it when I'm messing around with Diluc here it's not correct? enhancer. See, it shouldn't be already at 14,000. 5 levels should be 7,000. So this is incorrect for some reason. Is it because I have a second copy right here? See if it's 5. Let's try this here. Fighter enhancer. See, it should only be 7,000. It must be because I have a duplicated sheet here. That's why it's calculating wrong. So let's just copy everything over, I guess. This one is going to be Diluc. Wait, before I do this, hold on a minute. Let me hide this. I'll be right back. I'm going to create a new copy of that for myself. That way I don't have to keep on creating them over and over again. There it is. This one's going to be for that. Make a copy of this. This one's going to be a blank one. And we're going to rename things here. This one's just going to be Gene. This one is going to be Diluc. Alright, let me just copy things right now. Diluc, and then 710.4, 710.4, and crossport 7777777. Background is going to be mercenary. Want him to have power attack 1. Okay. Alright, there we go. I've copied over most things now. And we want him to have 13,000 to start off. Want bear muscle, beetle skin, and cat's eye. Zoom in here. 150 should be good. Actually, Diluc would be more like a vagrant, wouldn't he? Well, sorry, vagrant is more of a specific archetype in Sword World. It gives you access to different feats, but you're essentially not part of the Adventurers Guild. Very similar to how in Genshin, he kind of does his own thing, right? Doesn't want to be held down by the guild. So fire weapon, it's going to be fire fairy. Fairy fire weapon. It's going to be a sword. Should I also give him weapon proficiency as well? Sword proficiency A. At the 5th level, what should I give him? Let's take a look at those vagrant skills. Feats, combat feats. Or vagrant combat feats. Enhanced resistance, cheap cast, Herald Strike? No. Wild Strike? That requires a one-handed weapon. No. What's Herald Strike? Defeat lower level enemies than you. And fix your accuracy at 5 without rolling dice. And then when you roll on power table, you do increased damage. Herald Strike seems right. But so does Power Strike. He makes more sense as a character who's not part of the Adventurers Guild. But Power Strike just seems right. Yeah, I think so. What else could he have picked up? Nothing else really stands out. We could pick up Herald Strike. Power attack at level 1 and then Herald Strike at level 5. Vagrant type. Because he's not part of the guild. And that's the only reason why. And then he would probably... Other classes could hit. Not Tactician because he's very much a fights for himself type of character. What other classes? None of the wizard types make sense. You just give him Ranger, Scout, or Ranger or Scout. Sage doesn't really make that much sense on him, so let's give him Ranger. And this one doesn't really matter too much. Just 3 Ranger, 4 Enhancer. Yeah. For one more class features, enhancer techniques. Probably give you one more. Gazelle feet. Maybe either strong blood or antibody would be good. Strong blood will help him resist cold and fire damage better. Antibody to resist poison and disease instead. Diluc, well, he drinks as a brewery, but probably strong blood is what I'll give him. Fire, ice resist. Ranger 3 so he can be a loner. Bare muscle. I don't want these things. Speedo skin a prep action as well? Sure is. Okay. Pop, pop. Now he has same HP as Jean because they're both adventure level 5 with the exact same vitality since we're not going to bother rolling those. So fire weapon. Wait. There we go. We were looking in the wrong place. Yeah, Diluc has 1 more HP than her, but she has more MP by a large amount. Okay. Strength is at 17. What can he wield? A weapon that's two-handed is preferable. With an A rank weapon that is two-handed, you don't get that until you have at least 23 power. So we're going to look at the previous ones. What's his strength again? 17? He would wield a bastard sword. So 2 versions of that. We'll prefer the two-handed stance rather than the one-handed stance. You need a minimum of 17 strength or right on the dot. Weapon accuracy, no extra given. Power of this would be 27-17. Of course, he's going to always wield it two-handed. Crit value is of 10. 1 extra damage. Using the fighter class. Sword damage +1. Armor. I want him to be wearing metal armor. So that'll be splint armor. Because that's a minimum strength of 15. Chainmail is at strength requirement of 18, so he's 1 short. But if you give him 1 more strength, then he could wield that. Reduce his evasion by -1, but get +6 defense, which would be much better. But with splint armor, you get +0 evasion and +5 defense. No hand for the shields. You're always going to be wielding a two-handed sword anyways. I think that's about all you really need. And then job skills. Is there anything for a brewery? Sure there is. Must be something. I mean, he probably do what was it? Soldier as well. Could be a manager. Farmer. I mean, it's not that far off of what he does. You know, with the wine and such. I don't think there's... Was there a wine skill? Doesn't seem like there is one. Maybe in craftsman. Distiller. Brewer. What's the difference? They both get a brewing check. Oh, one's for distillation, one's for brewing. So yeah, let's just do that. Job. Skills. This will be distiller. Level 5. Oops. And then brewer. Level 5. Does that make sense? Not really. Let's give him soldier as well. The vigilante and such. Which means we'll bring these down to 2 and 3. I don't think it matters which one is higher or not. At least not in my mind. It doesn't matter too much. I mean, some people may feel differently. But yeah, I think that at the minimum, this is really all you need to recreate Diluc in Sword World. You want to boost up his strength and vitality. Having more dexterity is good. Forget about agility. He's not the style that where he really wants to evade things a lot. It's more like my image of Diluc is more someone who stands at the front line and just smashes through enemies. So fighter, enhancer to provide himself with self buffs, and ranger so that he can heal himself after the battle. As for weapons, he'll use a bastard sword, two-handed, and he'll enchant with fire so that he can deal fire damage. He's equipped with a splint armor, and as you increase your strength, then he can wield better armor. At the minimum, this is really all you really need. And that would be Diluc. And with that, we're done with Diluc. Let us create the next character. I'm going to set up a sheet for this. Who should we do next? I think we're going to just keep on going with the Mondstadt characters, honestly. Duplicate this. There we go. Next character. Next character is going to be, of course, another human as well. Who shall it be? Well, let's make Amber. Do I really need to make Amber? Guided by Kaeya already created Amber. What's the harm? So we can recreate it real quickly. I remember it was Marksman. And then Conjurer. What else did they make her? Scout. Job skill. Probably Explore. 5. I think 2 is the minimum you need. Scout. It keeps that high. You want to get targeting. What else would you give her? I personally would give her Marionette. Mostly because I made a homebrew for Amber anyways. So I think that would be helpful. No, you don't really need Marionette. Would you? Would you? Not necessarily. You know what? Just... Why am I building her again? Guided by Kaeya already built a very good guide of creating Amber anyway, so just look up that short. Let's make someone else. Let's see. Who shall we make instead? Let's change up our new characters. Let me swap out the party. Who's in Mondstadt? Mondstadt. Who do you get at the beginning of the game? Get you. You. And you. Who comes first? I forgot who comes first. I think you guys already heard him. We'll start with Kaeya. Let's see here. What did I need to do? We're making Kaeya. Now this is going to be kind of silly because he's the leader of the cavalry, isn't he? Oh, I forgot to put this back on screen. Kaeya, yes. Let me change this. There. Okay. All right, as I was doing. As we were. We had... I think it's going to be a fencer. And also rider. But I don't know how good he is at riding. Because we don't get to see him actually riding anything. As for the background, we can probably swap that to something else. An agile warrior? Yeah, agile warrior 10, 7, 4 on the across the board is good. Fencer. Okay, this is an agile warrior. I don't know how good he is at riding things. He doesn't ride anything in the game, so I don't really know. Like, if you were to try to recreate his ice blast, I don't remember what it's called, but this thing right here. Oh, can't really see it. 3, 2, 1. That thing, I forgot what it's called. Then you would probably want a spell for that. Let's see here. Not divine spells. I guess we're going to fairy magic again. Ice Bolt. You'll need a level 3 for Ice Bolt. Shoots an ice arrow at the target. Deals power 10 magic damage. Or you could just get a fairy weapon ice. We're gonna start with Fairy Weapon Ice. Okay, we know we want that. As a fencer, one-handed weapon. What else do we need to consider for him? Feats. I think Kaeya feels more like an evasive character. The fencer, you will increase his accuracy and you increase his levels more easily and make it more likely for him to deal crits as well, which makes sense to me. As for what his character archetype feels like, a very suave swashbuckler type character. Which means what does that mean? Fairy Tamer. Only to get the Ice Blast. Three. What did I want this for? Ice Bolt. It's only to get the Ice Bolt spell. Fencer. Definitely want evasive maneuvers. What's the earliest you can pick that up again? Evasive maneuvers at level 3. Do I want multi-action here again? What else can he get? What other classes would suit him? None of the wizard types really do well. Abyss Gazer, Artificer, Conjurer, Druid, Fairy Tamer, since it's an element. I don't think there were any priests. Priestess doesn't seem right. Sorcerer. Not really a blasting type. As for minor classes, go with the good old Enhancer for him. I think you want Cat's Eye. Let me just copy some of this stuff here. Definitely wants Cat's Eye, and then you probably want the Gazelle feat to increase his evasion. One. As for combat feats, you would not be a vagrant. Lethal Strike? Not. Does he seem like the taunting strike type of person? I mean, the way he kind of like moves and talks about people, does seem kind of taunting. But Lethal Strike is what I think he would probably start off with. And when he finds those moments to deal those critical hits, I think that would suit him. Lethal Strike. It reduces the evasion, that's unfortunate. Should I get sword proficiency? It's either sword proficiency or what was it? Multi-action. I mean, it's not like I got multi-action for Diluc. Just got 2 aggressive stuff. He has more evasive. Like in my mind, I want to give him a shield just so that his hand isn't wasted. But if we're playing it true to form, like emulating the character style, then we will probably not. Even though dodge is a great feat, increases your evasion by 1. The thing is with Kaeya, not only does it has an ice bolt, he also has this AoE ice thing that protects him and damages people around him. You could say that something like Stone Guard, just reflavor that as an ice thing. No, I don't think he would use multi-action. What shall we give him at level 5? Should we boost his ability to use muscle mastery? Or enhance her abilities? Doesn't seem right. Taunting? I just kind of really want to give him Taunting Strike, even though there's no reason to. Taunting Strike just seems right. What about Rider? Definitely would give him a horse on a mount, even though in the game you never actually see him on a horse. And because you never actually see him on a horse, just give him remote command so he doesn't actually need to ride it himself. That way he can command his mount from a distance. And probably enhance mount. It's mind to mind. No, mind to mind doesn't seem right. Search command? Yeah, search command seems right since he's kind of out there in the field finding things. Enhance mount. Maybe. Mount's devotion. It would protect him, but it's not like he ever actually rides a mount, so that would be kind of pointless. What's about attack obstruction? Attack obstruction. While you... Oh, that's only while you're riding. But Kaeya never rides things. Probably intimidation. Let's give his mount intimidation. Like, nothing really fits because we never see Kaeya on a horse. So I don't know how he would form on one. I mean, I can imagine it. I can imagine him on a horse. It's kind of like a swashbuckling horse rider. But then instead of remote command, you'd give him the horse. You would give him elevated attack instead. Elevated attack and enhance mount. And HP enhancement. So either you get this stuff from this tree or stuff from this tree. Because if you go over the left, that means Kaeya can kind of run around on his own. Whereas if you go with the right, then he is the guy who's on the horse, riding into the fights and making trouble there. Rider have any... I don't think riders have any specific feats. Yeah, they don't. So once again, we're back to trying to decide a feat. Could always be multi-action or just sword proficiency A. Let's just use sword proficiency A. Generically, it's a good feat. Okay, so fairy weapon ice, fairy fire. Very nice. Alright, what sort of weapon will you be wearing? Or let's start with armor first. He can wear hard leather, right? It's better. Yep, 14 strength, so he can wear hard leather. And that means his minimum strength of that is 13. Defense would be a +4. His shield hand is occupied so that if he's on the horse, then his shield hand is occupied. His offhand is occupied. If he is not on the horse, actually, I feel like he would be a scout. We never, like I said, we never see him on a horse. I have no idea how he operates on one. So let's give him scout instead. Because he's a spy. He's a spy type. We'll give him scout instead at level 3. Which brings us right into our budget of 13,000 XP. Alright, now back to the weapons. With 13 strength, he can wield a longsword. Two-handed. Minimum strength for this is 13. No extra accuracy. The damage is 13 and 23. Crit value is 10. However, because he is a fencer, it becomes 9 instead. So he crits on the 9 instead of the 10 column. Extra damage is 1. Shield, he could equip. He could equip a kite shield. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but if he were to wear a kite shield, which requires 13, you get 1 defense and 1 evasion, 1 defense. However, it doesn't make sense for the character. Because we want to emulate like the one-handed, suave, scout spy type of character. I mean, just look at him. He's just, his outfit just screams like swashbuckler style. The way he attacks and spins his sword afterwards. So, though I think it makes sense for him to wear a kite shield, we're not going to have him do that. Of course, he needs a gem case as well, because he is a fairy tamer with ice. So you'll have water, ice. What else will we make him have? We could give him earth. Or fire. The damage. We really don't need to. Darkness. Well, we really only just want water and darkness. Anything else is optional. And at the minimum, I think this is what you could do to pull off Kaeya in Genshin Impact. In Sword World instead. Right, now, job skills. What job skills should I give him? Detective? Detective seems right. Yeah, let's give him detective. Level 5. Anything else? Not craftsman. Knowledge. Not quite a scholar, not a scribe. Storyteller? Storyteller might be good. I mean, he could also be explorer or government official. But if my headcanon of Kaeya just feels like storyteller seems appropriate. Let's do Storyteller. Level 2. And then Government Official. Level 3. No, he's also a soldier too. Maybe something like that. Detective level 5, Government Official level 3, and Soldier level 2. Total of 10 levels. 10 free job skill levels. Yeah, I think that's at the minimum what you would need to pull off this character. Like putting aside all the stats, I mean, that's an optional idea or thing. You do probably want to boost up his dexterity and agility so you get a +3 modifier instead. But since we're not going to worry about that here, we'll skip that. Alright, and that is going to be Kaeya. He is going to be a Fencer level 5, a Scout level 3, a Fairy Tamer level 3, Enhancer level 2. He'll pick up Lethal Strike, Evasive Maneuvers, and Sword Proficiency. He'll get for his Enhancer abilities Cat's Eye and Gazelle Feet. That's at the minimum what he needs. Having, if he gets Bear Muscle, that'd be great, but that's not going to be the priority for him. I mean, he does not have much MP to work with, so it's going to be pretty tight. Fairy Longsword is going to be enchanted with ice, so he can deal ice damage. 13, sorry, it's +7 to accuracy, +8 for damage. Higher chance for crit. And you could always swap out either Fairy Tamer or Scout for Rider instead. That would do. That would work, I think. But if you don't want to, that's perfectly still fine. And I think that's how I would start building Kaeya in Sword World. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. Alright, let's get started on another character. Let's copy this first. Loading. Alright, who's my next character? Lisa. Let us try to make Lisa. How would I make Lisa? Well, first of all, we know that she's going to be a human as well. We're just going to start everyone as a human. By default. Let me just fix my template here. Ah, shoot. Gotta fix my template. Okay, Lisa. There we go. Okay, Lisa. How would I build her? As a magician or mage, probably sorcerer, because she does have little zap spells. Probably sorcerer, so she can use true speech magic. That's the most like stereotypical mage stuff you can do, actually. I'm gonna start with sorcerer 5. I'll start with that for now. Now for humans, you really start with a lot of different things, but we're gonna start with the magician background. That means her starting stats are going to be 6, 5, and 10. And then of course you want to bump up intelligence and spirit when you get the chance. She'll be on the back line, so she doesn't really need any evasion at all. At all, honestly. Okay, but spells. She wants a lot of magic and she wants to have AoE as well. At least I would want her to have AoE. Fairy magic doesn't have electric type spells. It's all under divine spells, which I don't think fits her. And true speech spells. True speech has lightning at level 4. So that's what we would definitely want. She's also a sage. Starting off with that right off the bat. And then probably make her a conjure as well. I think. Yeah, Sage 4, Conjurer 2, and Sorcerer 5. So that way her main spells come from being a sorcerer. Then she has some secondary spells from the Conjurer class. And then that would also unlock Deep Magic for her. Deep Magic is a spell list that you can only get with... what was it? Can only get with if you combine the classes of Sorcerer and Conjurer. So that's what I would start her off with. And so you need a spell casting item as well. We'll get to that later. Let's drop that. Okay. Combat feats. Alright. I know already that I want her to have meta magic targets. And then meta magic targets will allow her to target more per spell. I don't want magic convergence for her. Convergence. So that you can turn an area spell into a single target spell. And you also need targeting. Actually, targeting early, forget meta magic targets. You want magic control. That way she can cast her lightning spell at every single turn and doesn't need to worry about any friendly fire, essentially. Without magic control, her lightning spell will just hit everyone, including allies, and you'd rather not do that. She has like this ability right here. See, it's like when she does that, it hits everyone around her. So as an ally, you would be able to shoot a lightning beam instead. So getting magic control will allow you to avoid that. Nothing is here. And so on the right hand side, we just need a magical implement. Which we can do by changing any weapon into one. With non-metallic armor, she has 12 strength. Which means she can wear soft leather. Which requires 7 strength, no evasion, and 3 defense. Like in terms of stat, you probably want something that's more heavy in intelligence and spirit. So that would mean something like a Tabit, which would give her a +3 to intelligence and spirit, I think. Or a Newman, which has a reduced lifespan, but also increased intelligence and spirit. But since we're keeping it simple, everyone's a human tonight. Right, weapons. What weapons would she wield? Probably stave. She had how much? Quarterstaff essentially. Two-handed. And this strength card is 4. It's a pretty light weapon. +1 accuracy. 11 power. I mean, realistically, she should never need to use her quarterstaff. And then quarterstaff gives a +1 to defense as well. And because she doesn't have fighter, fencer, grappler, or marksman, she doesn't get to add any bonuses to attacking with a staff. So swinging a weapon in melee +0, so roll a straight 2d6. How much damage does she do? Power table +0, absolutely no damage. But because she has Sage, she can make sure her allies deal more damage, and this quarterstaff will also be a magical implement. I mean, that's pretty much it. You really don't need anything. She's a very stereotypical mage. Very, very stereotypical. And then for her job skills, definitely librarian. What else? Could be government official. I mean, her, Jean, and Kaeya are all kind of government officials in their own right. Would be it. I do think could also be a prestigigator. No. She's probably more of an official. Government official. Level 5, you want sorcerer. Level 4 or lightning spell. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's probably all you really need to do to make Lisa. You could always change your race to anything else. The stats here is you roll a straight 2d6. Who knows what you might get? We're just going with the average just to keep things simple. Sorcerer level 5, Sage 4, so that you can learn more about the enemies you fight, as well as identify their weak point to help your allies deal more damage or make it easier for them to fight. Conjurer level 2, so you can increase your mana pool and gain access to deep magic. You gain targeting as your combat feat so that you aren't accidentally hitting your allies. Magic convergence, which is a requirement for magic control, so that you can cast AoE spells, area of effect spells, without hurting allies. Equipment, nothing really matters here. Just get a magical implement, anything is fine. Get a ton of mana stones so that you always have spare MP. You never want to run out of MP with her because you're going to be casting spells every single turn. And I think lightning costs like 7 MP per turn. Let me double check here. Lightning. Yeah, it's MP 7 cost. So with 38 MP, if you just cast it every turn, within 4 turns you're out of mana. So you definitely want to carry extra mana stones on you. You could eventually pick up mana MP save to reduce the cost of all your spells in True Speech by 1 point. But I think early on getting magic control is more important. It makes such a huge difference to have magic control. And with that, I think we can say that we are done with this build. Okay. There we go. All right, next character. Who should we build next? Who do I have lined up next? Razor. Ah, shoot. What would Razor be? Is he? I mean, he wields a broadsword. A heavy sword, but that's not his main play style. He uses lightning. Hits things around him. But I feel like he's more of a grappler type. I think you could play him both as a battle dancer too, actually. Battle dancer might not be a bad idea. We could take him down the battle dancer route, or we can take him down the grappler route. With a grappler route, it's essentially we're focusing on his relation with his spirit guy here, right there, to deal more electric damage with the claws. Like that's what going with grappler would emulate. Am I lagging here? I'm lagging, that's fine, whatever. It's probably because I'm running Genshin in the background as well. What was I saying? So definitely either battle dancer or enhancer. Hurry, hold on just a moment here. Make a new sheet. I'll rename this one. Alright. Razor. How will we build Razor? I am conflicted. It's either going to be a battle dancer or it is going to be a grappler type. A grappler and then use his lightning. It's because that's more like a brawler type of build. I mean, that's the reason why I'm kind of eyeing that type of build. Because he's like a brawler. Sure, he uses electricity. Sure, he uses a broadsword in the game. But he's a wolf child. And as a wolf child, I think going grappler is a more... It emulates the character more than going battle dancer. Battle dancer, sure, he could wield a great sword and swing it around really quickly. But what I imagine Razor attacking with, if it weren't for that great sword, is with his bare hands, because he's trying to be like the wolf that raised him. So I think we're going to build him as a grappler instead. Grappler at level 5, which means as a brawler background, we're going to give him, it starts with 8, 8, and 5. Definitely is going to be enhancer. Believe in himself. Probably a ranger as well. He knows how to find the right things he can eat. And scout wouldn't make sense because he's rarely ever in civilization. So yeah, he would be lost there. So a ranger. Would he be a good ranger? Probably 543. I think that's pretty accurate. Let's see, combat feats. Techniques first. We want bare muscle for sure. And then we want gazelle feet for evasion. What's meditation again? For psychic resist, willpower. I think. Okay, so here's the thing next. You could give him like usual for fighters, which is cat's eye, beetle skin, bear muscle, and such. But because I'm trying to emulate a wolf child, a wolf cub, as a human, I think it makes more sense to give him owl sight and rabbit ears. Because owl sight gives him dark vision, and rabbit ears increases danger sense, so that he can sense danger more easily. So that's why I would choose those 4 techniques. Bear muscle because I'm trying to create a brawler type wolf child, and gazelle feet so that he can stay on his feet, evasive essentially. So his attacks, his combat feats now. Let me zoom in here. Combat feats. What are we building? We're making a grappler. We're making a brawler. We're making a wolf child. Any special? First of all, you get chain attack at level 1. That means you can attack faster. You deal more. You can attack faster essentially, or make more attacks. You get a free secondary attack essentially. Now, what sort of active combat feat should we make him? We could give him. So grapplers are able to use armor piercer, infight, power strike, nerve strike, and armor piercer. They can also throw, make a flying kick, which doesn't make sense for him. Stomp doesn't make sense for him as well. I am feeling infight. At the very least, infight. It will reduce his evasion against reduces evasion by -2, but increases his accuracy against a single target. So what I'm imagining, what I'm envisioning for a player character of Razor is someone who just like leaps right into battle and just hunts one person down and make sure that they go down as fast as possible. But infight is a level 5 requirement. So we'll pick that up at level 5. And then we'll pick up evasive maneuvers at 3. Level 1. It's either going to be a proficiency or it is going to be... What is it going to be? Can't be armor piercer. You can get at level 1, but I suppose you could play Razor as like a piercing type, because like if you're trying to emulate a wolf, then you can dig into armor, like tear right through it. But I think for a wolf child type of player character, one that just leaps into fighting and just taking down one person immediately, I think that would work much better. You want evasive maneuvers? Oh, but that doesn't upgrade though. Evasive maneuver only upgrades for Fencer and the Battle Dancer. Eventually the Grappler class gets counter for free at level 7. Which means he wouldn't be using his evasion much. But he does want that evasion boost just so that it counterbalances infight. Infight level 2. No. Yeah, I imagine him more as like a reckless type of fighter. So we're going to go with weapon proficiency here. Sling A, proficiency A, so that he can increase the amount of damage he does with each of his claws. Technically, you could make him a different race instead. What was it? Could make him a Lycant? Lycant? I forgot which one. That would give him dark vision in his beast form. And you can also change his head into the form of a predator beast and gain another +2 to strength. That's what would make sense. You want to make him a Lycant instead. But as I mentioned, for the sake of keeping things simple for me tonight, everyone's a human. But generally, I think you'll want to make him either a Lycant or what else could it be? I mean, could be an Abyssborn. Could be a Nightmare. Or a Weakling as well. We can make him... Weaklings are... They're called Weaklings from the perspective of the barbarous. Not because they're weak or by anything, but it's because they are lesser barbarous. I mean, that's the perspective that barbarians have of them. And from that, you could probably use the Thanos background because they have claw hands already. I mean, that could fit Razor's background as well. That's why he was abandoned as a child. I think either one would be a fine addition. So human, Lycant, or Thanos. I think either one of those would be a good fit for him. Oops. Turn off wrapping, please. It's not overflowing. Darn it. There. Human, Lycant, or Thanos. Any of those three I think would be a fine way to build Razor. And then with the Thanos, you can just flavor him as like a wolf instead of having the carapace. I mean, the Thanos are kind of like crab people. Just flavor it differently. Instead of a carapace hand, you just have wolf claws or something. Now then, weapons. They're called wrestling weapons for grapplers, but they're essentially claw hands, clawed weapons, pugilist weapons, martial artist weapons, call it whatever have you. Weapons. Wrestling type weapons. Strength is 15. which is way higher than you actually need it to be. Let's see here. The best weapon you can equip on the hands. Most. Would you want accuracy or damage? Since we're going to go with infighting, we want more damage. So power wrist. That is one-handed wrestling. Minimum strength required is 5. No bonus accuracy. And then power is 10. Crit value is 10. Grappler 1. And then on his legs. Not that he would ever use it, but would probably. Something that just straight up does more damage. So it would probably be, I would go with hard kickers for this rather than the power anklet. Power anklet has a power of 20, but it is more difficult to crit with it, to roll a critical hit. Whereas for hard kicker, does more damage at power 30, but less likely to crit. I don't think this build that we're going for Razor is one that's aiming to do any crits. So we're going with hard kicker. Equipped on the legs, minimum strength part is 15. Accuracy for all kick weapons is -1. Power 30. 10 plus 1 damage. For armor, grapplers don't have very much options. You have to wear stuff that only grapplers can wear. Which means he's stuck with a point guard. Point guard requires 1 strength, gives 1 evasion but 0 defense. So that's why you need Gazelle Feet. Increase your evasion back up. That way you can use Infight to bring it back to normal. Of course you want your friends to help buff you. And because Razor didn't have any special abilities, his MP is pretty low. Can you? I don't think you can enchant any electricity, lightning damage. Can you? Let me double check here. I think that was in Core 2? Core Rulebook 2, improvements to weapons. Fairy weapon. Oh, you can do lightning in that case. Fairy lightning. Power wrist. Might as well make the hard kicker one as well. That way he can deal lightning damage. With both of his claws. We can flavor his enhancer abilities as his wolf spirit looking over you. And if you go with the Lycant, you can get rid of Owl's Sight and you can get another enhancer ability instead. But since we're all assuming that it's going to be a human, that's what we'll go with. We'll go with Owl's Sight for the dark vision. I think that's about it. Job skills. Really shouldn't. It's more of an explorer. Job skills. Explorer 5, I guess. Hunter as well. I'm gonna give him Hunter. Next, Hunter for sure. Maybe not Explorer. No, we can give him both. Why not? I think Hunter is more important for him to have. You can give him Explorer level 5 as well. But so the idea archetype here, the idea is that he is going to be like a wolf child. Like brawler. That's the place that we're envisioning with this. Runs right in. Go all in, start fighting things, not heeding any dangers that you're probably going to go into. Probably going to get really hurt because he's dropping his evasion back down. But that's the playstyle which I think best emulates Razor. Very risky, an all-out fighting build. I think that'll do. And then he'll lick his wounds afterwards with the ranger skills, since they have proficiency in medical checks or using potions and herbs to heal. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's good. I think I'm happy with that. Of course, we can always change the race and the stats to something else that's more appropriate. But this is, I think, what we need. And with the lightning enchanted weapons, he can deal lightning damage if he so wishes. Of course, he's going to get hurt very quickly, so he would probably need some allies to help back him up. That's probably how I would build Razor. Is there anyone else I want to build tonight? We built 2, 3, 4, 5. We built 5 characters tonight. Let's move this over here. Move this over there. Okay. So, I think that's everyone I wanted to build tonight. Wow, I'm lagging so much I didn't even notice. That's fine. That's fine. There. Okay, so with that, we have built 5 characters tonight. We've built Jean. She is our fighter, fairy tamer, priest, and tactician class. I needed at least 14,000 XP to level her up to this level, but that would give her everything you need to emulate her. She would have the wind cutter spell, which is her E. She would have wind circulation, so she can create a breeze, and that's part of the priest, so she can heal as well and protect her allies. Tactician will allows her to build up with defiant stance, commanding her allies to be more defensive, and also heal them more effectively with the stratagem. No, I got that wrong, backwards. It's not a stratagem, it's a maneuver. The stratagem is defiant stance, efficiency for the maneuver. Job skills are government official and soldier at the very least. She will want to, honestly, what her priorities probably would be is strength. No. Wait a minute. Would she be a warrior? Maybe I should make her a magic warrior instead. If I use Fey Touched with the Fairy Tamer to start off, that would give her more MP. At the cost of strength, though. No, she needs that. She needs that strength. And the other option is to go with the Fey touched background. And that will allow her to start with 5, 6, and 10 instead, which increases the amount of MP she has, gets her much closer to using her spells more effectively. But then her damage would go down. So we're gonna change that back. We'll go 795 for this. Focus on increasing. Actually, this is pretty greedy because you want all the stats to be pretty good. But you're here to support your allies mostly. So, yeah, that's how you can do it. For Diluc. Diluc, he is all out attack. Fight, smash things, buff yourself up. Use a two-handed weapon to deal more damage. Get more strength actually. And then get a better weapon. And wear better armor. For Kaeya, I decided to make him more of like a swashbuckler scout type of character. So focusing more on dexterity and agility. Secondary is strength and vitality. And then intelligent spirit can be reduced to the very bottom. You don't want to dip. You don't want to like tank it. You don't want to drop it completely because you still want it to use your spells. Fairy Tamer and stuff because you want to be able to cast that ice bolt. I mean, you could get a horse. You don't have to. If you do, then you can either have him on the horse running around or you can have him off of it. But you do want Enhancer and Fairy Tamer. That's the minimum you need to create Kaeya. For Lisa, she is extremely simple to make. She is a straightforward sorcerer, sage, and conjurer. Get magic control as soon as you can so you can start casting lightning each turn to deal a ton of damage. And also help your allies with the monster knowledge checks. For Razor, I decided to build him as a grappler instead of like a wolf child brother, and all in risky attacks. Go in and make sure you take down one person in particular. Just kind of like leap on them, start clawing them down. And that's how I would emulate Razor, since you got the wolf spirit behind him. I think that's enough for tonight. I'm feeling good with that. Alright, with that, my name is Kuovadis. This is a night going through Genshin, creating characters, player character builds in Sword World 2.5. And with that, I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, and evening. Take care.